Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's extremely interesting, and important, and it says in a very deep tradition. Although you're not aware of this tradition, maybe because it's a tradition of classical philology, how to work with cards.
Yes, we are aware of it.
And how to work with the analysis of colors. The history of the study of colors in Homerus is just a sort of additional illustration of what you're doing. It's unbelievable how interesting it is and how rich the opportunities are open.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you probably want to. Of course, I would say I have a lot of questions or considerations we could exchange. Let us say, writing to each other, probably. But there is one point, of course, when we compare the text of translation, we immediately think about idiomatic, the deepness of idiomatics in respective languages.
Yes.
And then, in the case of Nabokov, it's interesting to find out, so to say, the phenomenon of the third language, which is so deeply third language. What I mean is, Humbert, as coming from going to the forest to chase Lolita, or to chase animal, a wild animal. And when we have him black, we are thinking about Hubertus and Black Forest in Germany. So his time in Germany, Schwarzwald. A part of his English black is colored through Humbert with the German cultural surrounding. So it could be a possibility. So as soon as you put additional information into the system, let us say possible surrounding of his writing from other languages, and the context, the deeper context, or the more profound context of him as author, because the history of Mademoiselle Ott, this devil, it's all going on in somewhere in Paris, or where is it? No, it's in Berlin, actually. It's in Germany.
I'm not sure what they're referring to.
No, I'm talking about this story with the Mademoiselle Ott, when Nabokov was.
There is a case story.
There is a story with the devil, with this lady.
Well, there is a case, kind of case.
It's a different story.
But the lady, I think it was also.
Who told him that she will. He is sitting and waiting for a woman. He cannot find a woman, and suddenly she sees.
Okay.
He's seeing a devil. And it's Mademoiselle Ott.
Okay. All right, I should look at it.
And they make a deal. She told him that he should find 12 women, and she will let him have sex with all 12 of them, but he has just to choose them in the street. And he is walking in Berlin, and he realizes that he cannot do that. So he has 11, but he needs 12, and he's going to meet this woman, this Mademoiselle Ott.
Okay.
And suddenly he's happy, he sees the 12th. And he watches her, and he decides to take her too.
Okay.
And then suddenly he realizes that that's Mademoiselle Ott. And she looks at him and she says, no, it's over. So the deal is over. You don't have enough. You didn't choose enough. That's the story. I thought
No,
it
I don't have another story.
it's not this story.
No, this is the.
Because she is in black and the whole story is black.
Okay, no, this is a part of his part of Другие берега. What went later.
That's from.
But
But you never see that in the list of words. That's why.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why so much black?
You're switching, so to say, literary experience with the author.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking that between English and German, English and Russian text in Nabokov, we can easily imagine the existence of German subtext, of German
French.
German
Yeah.
Schwarz.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah, and we're also trying to figure out that in some other research.
One would have never thought about it without having this model, because the model is absolutely excellent.
But which novel did you mention, like with the 12 women? What is it that who wrote it?
We'll find it.
Nabokov wrote it.
It's Nabokov.
Oh, okay.
It's Nabokov. It's his early. It's his early.
Yeah, sure.
There is a
Cool.
book. He published it, I believe, in 1924 or 1923. It's called «Возвращение черного». Там есть рассказ госпожа От.
Ну да, если.
По-русски. Это русский? Нет, я говорю, русский. Нет, он написан в Берлине. It's a sort of, I thought, because when I saw Mademoiselle I immediately switched to this short story. But in this short story, by the way, influenced Bulgakov. Because there is a scene there when this Mrs. Otto, Mademoiselle Otto, that she wants to prove that she is a devil. And she says, look, do you see this guy? He's crossing the tram line. Now the tram will hit her. And it really happens, and then the author or the storyteller says, oh, how terrible, she said, I just told you that the tram will knock her. I could have said that it will cut his head. So the motive of tram cutting heads, and it's not only by Nabokov, it's by Kodasevich, the same. Anyway, it could be useful to, let us say, to add the cultural surroundings, and in this case, German.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, what you're doing here is precisely what you're describing. You look between the quantitative and the qualitative. Yeah. So you have something quantitative that leads you to make connections as a literary scholar. You feed it back into the system. You calculate something else, so that's how it works.
But also, like two important examples. What you said, actually, what we are trying to do for the next two conferences. One will be like a very soon, like in October in Belgrade, and that will be just like a starting with Serbian corpus and example, but which is interesting research because there is one symbolist and poet, Branko Miljković, which basically in his poems destruct the whole world. This is creative also destruct the whole world. Kind of in one poem, like successfully, like destroy time, destroy space, destroy shapes, destroy activities, and then rebuild it. And then at the end, actually, he started putting himself into the poems, and of course, spectacularly, he made suicide. In 29 years. So basically, he kind of migrated like a matrix into his poems, very epically. But then, actually, in that case, we hear a lot of his own essays, describing his creative process and describing what he tried to achieve with his poems. Same as we had with Anna Karenina, like at that close reading. So basically, okay, now we know what he's trying to do. We can try just to sample and scan novels and see, for example, how many constructive verbs there are, how many migration verbs, how many destructive verbs, how many. So basically, how does he introduce and try to recognize his expression of essay through analysis. Of course, it can be from statistical analysis, it can be like cheating, But actually, it can be like a very, on the other side, it can be a very great thing that we say, okay, actually, computer developed system can recognize particular moments, and if it can recognize, if we can prove it, then we can use it for another similar cases. And that is actually kind of bringing the context, as you said, into the system. And another much more demanding, which we have likely more time for a whole year almost, will be cognitive introduction, cognition analysis. So basically, that was actually was kind of idea initially coined by VIIa, by how to use idioms for that. And then actually I was thinking, okay, how we can really make it real. And then, okay, we can make it. And here, how we can make it, and then maybe we can say basically what was the idea behind that.
Well, the idea was to, one thing I noticed, and I read about this in the dissertation, one thing I noticed that happens to a lot of writers writing in a second language is the use of idiomatic language changes. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking how to possibly track that. And we haven't done it yet because it's just really complicated and complex. But the idea, we got accepted for a conference in a year, so we have a year to do this, is to first find a way to recognize idiomatic language in the text. At least if it misses something, it'll miss them. I don't expect it to be perfect at this point. Mm-hmm. But to recognize idiomatic language and to recognize language close to idiomatic. So when is the author using an idiom as a foundation for some other words as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking for idiomatic dictionaries, for example, lists of idioms.
Yeah. So basically, basically like idea is he shoots two flies with one hit. For example, it's kind of metaphor in Serbian.
The birds with one stone.
What?
The birds with one stone.
Yeah, two birds with one stone. But in Serbian, I said he shoot two flies with one hit.
Well, this is an example of idiom.
And then basically, yes.
So a bilingual author may write in English and say to shoot two rabbits with one stone. So
then,
don't say in English.
Then basically, the idea is okay. We assume, we have a hypothesis that they are using idioms in a different way, maybe like trying to maybe more flexible, maybe be more free with idioms, or it's like one thing that actually they are using English idioms or like L2 idioms, but more freely. The second option is to use L1 idioms from Russian and translating them in English. Both of them are interesting and attractive for us. And then actually how we can do that, how we can check, there's a lot of problems, but actually we can use like word nets that will kind of get a hypernyms for particular words and then set particular cognitive umbrella of that word for a writer. And if you hit that one,
you can search text for dwelling and using WordNet tool. You find different kinds of dwelling.
Hit fly, hit elephant. It's the animal. So we hit something, and then we get that, and we'll have a lot of noise. We have a lot of problems, which will be basically incredibly wrong. However, there will be like a one direction mistake. It will be more than expected. So we have like in a same direction mistake going. So what we can do? No, we can do manually, but however, actually we can do differential comparison with this and regular corpus. So since they are having mistake in the same direction, if we compare them, we will neutralize that shift and we will get just the signal, the information. And if we have like a positive information that author is using more, then it is a strong argument. Even if you have a lot of mistakes, we have in the same direction, this is like just a positive signal, we'll notice we will get the information. And that is basically something that we definitely cannot get by any other mean by this complex tool.